What new adventure do you want to have? And how would you like to get insights for how to make that new adventure a joyful journey, not a survival struggle? It's the ideal that seekers deserve something that sets them free, gives them methods and techniques for being their own pioneer. Science for living as a soul. What are the science and spiritual keys for how to have more health, success, and happiness in life? Blending the real world with spiritual exploration. And, obviously, I always say I'm an honors graduate of Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Principal Studies, Biomedical Chemistry, Brain Science. What I say is I love to peel the onion, get to the below the surface answer of how things work, so people can have the freedom to be their own best teacher. My foundation is Free Soul. It's about freedom. Is to give people the freedom not just to get the most out of their experience in Sedona, but how to tap what I call the Sedona Vortex Effect. What's the brain science and physics that allows you to be a vortex for insight no matter what site you're in? The biggest crystal there is the soul energy. If a physical crystal helps someone tune in, great. But dependency on a crystal or dependency on some external device limits you. Because you can't, in all circumstances in life, say, well, wait a minute, let me pull out my tarot cards, or let me pull out my, and again, there are many gifted readers who use those devices, but what I try to peel the onion is, if you understand how the sense works and where the psychic reception areas are, then you can use anything as your catalyst. If somebody said, well, you want to teach us the vortex effect, how to be a vortex, what would you call the actual vortex sites? My chemistry nerd side would describe the sites as catalysts. Catalysts make reactions run faster. Someone in electronics would say they're amplifiers. Plain language, the vortex sites themselves are training wheels on a bicycle. If you don't know how to ride a bicycle, you put the training wheels on, you learn to ride, you take the training wheels off. The training wheels are not mystically magical, they're a method. The magic is within you. When you understand how it works, you can use the method to tap your full potential. So that's why what I teach in my weekly talks does help people get the best out of their time here, but also not be limited to it. I guess I was very blessed. I always had a mom who was a seeker. And even as a child, growing up in Southern California, we'd have classes in our home. But this was a class on aura vision. His system was you looked at somebody and you noticed on your body where you itched, which is why he was always twitching. And then wherever you itched, you looked closer and what color or pattern did you see? Well, it was so weird that in my mind I said, there is no way this is going to work. I am stuck here. This guy's in my house. And probably for the first time in my life, I didn't over-try. I was a teenager, and I saw the same things he saw. In fact, he was kind of amazed, because it was like, oh my gosh, you're the standout student in the class. And that headed me off to MIT, because I was not naturally gifted in any way, telling me that there must be methods that can help people open their abilities. See, most people want to be more psychic. They walk around, I want to be more psychic. And that's flat on safe if you're not in a protected environment or you're around people. A lot of people in healing and healthcare, they're very sensitive and they're surrounded by people who are nervous, worried, and they pick up everybody's stuff. So knowing how to shield when you don't want to receive, tune to those areas to turn up the volume makes it not just greater sensitivity, but greater protectedness, greater life use. I believe in HSP, higher sensory perception. Our 5 physical senses are where we navigate in the 3-dimensional realm. Psychic senses are the senses of the soul, those dimensions beyond, but we get no training in how to use them safely. Well, so actually HSP could be higher soul perception. And, I know a lot of people watching this, they may have spouses or significant others, they go, is this foo-foo, weird, blah, blah. That's where I've been a bridge. Because I am a science guy, I can bring a practicality to it, and I'm very proud that MIT's official magazine, Technology Review, actually positively reviewed the book when it came out in hardcover with a 3-page article called Applied ESP. I would have preferred Applied HSP, but I was just glad that someone there saw the potential for something that was, on the edges, not as much straight lab science. I felt like I knew how to teach mind-body healing algebra, and I wanted to teach mind-body healing calculus, but I didn't know it. There's something in regular ed, brain science, that totally matches with spiritual learning called the 5 elements of a brain-compatible learning environment. If you put these 5 elements in anything you're teaching, you learn better, retain deeper, learn faster. First one is soothe the limbic brain. It always defaults us to struggle rather than exploration, joy. So, and when you're starting something new, you're clueless. So it's real easy to feel behind. This thing is from our evolutionary past, where we were more survivable, miserable than happy. If you went walking through the meadow during cave person times, isn't life great? Something would make you lunch. What triggers limbic distress is not moving fast. You can be a rapidly moving, questing soul. What triggers limbic distress is feeling behind. Because in our evolutionary past, if we were behind, something was gaining on us that was going to eat us, or we were anxious about, did we store enough food for the winter? So you are a soul, you have a body. Manage the body, but don't make it your worth. Body's just the tip of the iceberg. Most of the iceberg's below the water. Your birthright is to have the unlimited potential as a soul to tap the whole iceberg. Sedona is special. Traveled the world as a naval officer, chose to found my organization here because it had the best combination of qualities for creating that vortex effect. First of which is perfect color. The red-orange rock is neurostimulating. Now it also created a problem. Many people think of the vortexes as electric or magnetic. Literally, they're not. That labeling system was meant symbolically. The red-orange rock, I prefer to use upflow, inflow, upflows, mountains, mesa tops. Where else around the world is there a giant red-orange rock that rises out of the middle of nowhere that forever has been a sacred site to the indigenous Aborigines, Australia? Okay. But also green. Growing up in Southern California, 3 weeks without rain, all the hills go brown. Sedona is green year-round, even in drought, even in winter. And that's important because the human consciousness associates green with hope. I made it to another spring. Hope is one of the key things that soothes the limbic brain, that drags us out of those dimensions beyond. The red-orange rock is also a hope trigger because it's the color of sunrise. So one of the beauties of Sedona is you are bathed in sunrise color all day long, which is great when people are on vacation because you can sleep in. You don't have to worry trying to get to a sunrise meditation. And I'm biased. I did enough middle-of-the-night naval officer watches that one of the things I say is, if the sun ain't up now, I don't think I should have to be either. But we also don't tend to get good sunrises in Sedona, the way the hills are to our east. So I tell people visiting, sleep in, because you're bathed in sunrise color all day long. If there's anything, the human consciousness has always been affected by those colors. Many of the archaeologists who are not into spiritual stuff at all feel that the Anasazi, the ancient ones who disappeared, did sacred ceremony in Sedona but lived on the outskirts. And that's because their habitation ruins ring Sedona. And same reason, the neurostimulating red-orange rock, the hope-inspiring green, safety, water, all of those things will make people of all cultures be able to tap soothing limbic brain and then soaring to higher potentials. And then third, if there is something from your past that's like an anchor chain keeping you from moving forward, how can you get insights for how to let go the hooks of that anchor chain, or as a minimum, start to transform it to wisdom? What stuff do you have to deal with in your life? We all have challenges. The way they make polished stones is they tumble them in grit. We all have grit in our lives, or stuff that rhymes with grit. If it's still there and it's not going away, how can you deal with it as a learning, joyous journey, not just a survival struggle? And I'm very linguistic, so words help me identify when I've gone limbic and when I haven't. Are you exhausted or are you excited? Are you exploring or are you just enduring? And what I love about the Vortex book, that's available as an ebook through Light Technology, it is a print book. We also have a 50-minute film I did of this. It covers that whole range. It gives people the best places in Sedona to do those, as well as tips for how to find similar places in their home areas. The other one I founded my organization on was make life a quest, not a test. So whether it's in Sedona or anywhere, one of the ways people drag themselves out of soulness into unnecessary suffering is anxiety about feeling behind. And when you're starting something new, it's brand new. So of course you don't have all the pieces yet, and it's real easy. This thing always defaults us to the negative view. It's real easy to default to feeling behind, not good enough, I'll never be able to do it, rather than the joy of that new beginnings exploration. You know how most of an iceberg's below the water and only a little sticks above? Superstrings physics, saying that we exist in these dimensions beyond, basically says this is the above the water part of the iceberg. It's real, but it's not all there is. Your birthright is to have the whole iceberg. How can you do that in a way that is not a burden? How can you lift the weight off your shoulders even when you're having to deal with challenging things? But a very important one of the 5 is meaningful content. Make it purposeful for you. And since I've given the scientific vortex information talk in Sedona for decades, I'll frequently see people later in the week after they attended the talk at one of the hotels I give it at, and they'll say, we went to your talk, and then we went to Bell Rock, and we still got nothing. And I go, oh, well, what was your reason for going to Bell Rock? Well, we didn't have one. I said, okay, got what you went for. Having a purpose isn't a tuner. Brain science, just regular brain science, says every second there are 1 million bits of sensory data we're receiving and not paying attention to. So having a meaningful content purpose is a focuser. It screens out the static and helps you focus kind of on the frequency of what you want answers for. What new adventure do you want to have when you leave here? And how would you like to get insights while you're here for how to make that new adventure a joyful journey, not a survival struggle? The science is one part of the triangle of explanation. I love doing it because I'm a nerd. But I think it's important, if we know there are certain scientific explanations for things, that isn't essential, but if it helps ease some people's doubt of, do I have permission to pursue these spiritual things? And I always fall back on one of the greatest quotes from Einstein was, imagination is more important than knowledge. So some of the science stuff I quote, we still don't fully understand, but if it can be a bridge for letting people's higher mind, dimensions beyond, explore their full potentials, then it becomes science for living as a soul. The reason the free soul method is on all my books is it's not about me, Pete Sanders. It's not even meant to be my foundation, Free Soul, freesoul.net. It's the ideal that seekers deserve something that sets them free, gives them methods and techniques for being their own pioneer.